Hey team! All right, so hopefully by now you have chosen your book. If not, you got to get on that because you can see your first reading assignment is tonight. So you guys will have the opportunity to change your book until next Wednesday, December 9th. But I want to make sure that you know that if you decide to change your book, that means you have to start all over with a new one. So hopefully you were really careful in choosing your book yesterday. So, pretty much every day, we're going to be giving you the pages that you need to read. And like usual, you can see those page numbers on the side of the book. So, we're going to be showing them like this to you. So, all you have to do is look at your book. So, for instance, if you're reading The Hate You Give, you're going to read pages 1 through 16. And we're going to abbreviate these. So, you're going to see The Hunger Games is going to be HG. Hate You Give is going to be THUG. Absolutely true. And Persepolis are both going to be shortened a little bit. Okay. Want to remind you that the PDFs for the books are in the resources folder for the unit, and there are also audiobooks there for each book. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a social contract because our whole unit is talking about this idea of freedom and power and what it means when you have those and what it allows you to do and what it means when you don't have those and what you can't do and who does and does not have power and freedom. So we're going to be talking about those things all throughout our unit. But the basis of those is something called a social contract. So we're going to talk about that today. And then once we get through that, you're going to have plenty of time to start reading. All right, so like we said, this unit is all about freedom and power. So throughout the unit, we're going to be looking at these 3 questions. So how does having power affect your freedom? How does not having power affect your freedom? And why do we fight for freedom? Okay. So a social contract is where we're going to start. And a social contract is an agreement between a group of people about how we're going to behave, the rights that we have, the benefits that we get, how we're going to be held accountable if we're acting differently from this agreement. So, a social contract includes things like how you behave when you're in a movie theater or on the train. It includes things like don't murder. It includes things like what's the punishment if you get arrested for a certain crime. It includes things like you have the right to vote, you have the right to, like there's all kinds of stuff that we have in our Bill of Rights. So these are all of those things. So just take a second. You don't have to write this down anywhere, but we want to think about some of the things in our social contract in America and how we are expected to behave. So when we ask this question, I'm asking about America as a whole. I'm not asking about, specific communities, people in the city versus people in the small town, or people of one religion versus people of another religion, or people of one race versus people of another race. I'm asking about in America as a whole, what's our social contract? And some of those things, are things that carry across groups, right? Behaviors that we're supposed to have in public, ways that we're supposed to treat other people, right? Supposed to be kind, polite, respectful, especially to adults if you're younger. We are supposed to kind of conform to our gender identities, although that looks different and different more each day. You might even have thought of some of the things we talked about in our last unit with toxic masculinity. Social contract in America also includes the way that, laws that we have. So you're expected not to murder. And if you do, you're going to get a certain punishment for that. Okay. One of the things, though, is that the social contract that we have set up in America, right? The agreement that if you behave in these specific ways, we will protect you, we will give you rights, and we will hold accountable people who do not behave this way. That has actually been broken for some folks in this country, and primarily for the Black community in this country. So I don't know if you know him, but Trevor Noah is the host of The Daily Show. And in this video, he really breaks down exactly what a social contract is, why we would choose to be part of one, and what happens if we choose to still be part of it, even if it's not benefiting us or working against us, right? So an example of this would be our social contract is that in America that police are supposed to protect us, right? But that is clearly not happening in the same way for all people, right? That looks very, very different for folks who are white versus folks who are not, and especially for folks who are Black. So Trevor Noah really breaks this down in this video. It's really, really worth watching. So please make sure that you do it. Okay. And then afterwards, we just want to remind you, we're going to keep coming back to this idea that he's talking about. What's the point of having a social contract if the people who are supposed to be the ones protecting us are the ones that are committing the crimes? Okay. So go ahead and watch Trevor Noah's video now.